Alright, what's up YouTube? It's BoxingWave. You know the deal. If I can't make a video in a week or so, it's just a busy week for me, alright? So, I've been a little absent, but I'm back. It's no big deal. Alright, so this past weekend we had a lot of fights. Alright, we had Demetrius Andrade fighting Willie Nelson. Absolutely great performance. I mean, do I really need to break down the performance? He shut him out. He stopped him late. 4 knockdowns. Brilliant performance, alright? This is the second time Demetrius Andrade fought a top 10 junior middleweight, okay? A top 10 junior middleweight and beat him better than anybody else has ever beaten him, okay? Willie Nelson is a solid fighter. Stopped Tony Harrison. Went to war with Vanes Martirosyan. Lost that fight, but still, it was good performance, all right? Beat John Jackson back in the day, okay? Solid guy at 154, okay? Vanes Martirosyan, top 10 fighter at 154, okay? Has a good resume himself. Beaten some good fighters. Lost, had close decisions against some other fighters. But Demetrius Andrade beat them better than any other fighter in the division, okay? Andrade stands out. He stands out at 154, Whether you want to include Canelo or not, I think it's about time that we do include him because according from the rumors that we're hearing about him possibly fighting Liam Smith, Canelo might just be back at 154, okay? I don't know if he can make the weight, but I believe he can. I think he can make the weight. But anyway, that's another issue. Demetrius Andrade put on a great performance. He showed how versatile he is. He's probably the most versatile fighter at 154. Okay. The guy can be a slick fighter and outbox you from the outside. Or he can just come on the inside and just beat you down. Which is pretty much what he did with Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson is a good fighter, but I just don't know where his place is, when he's in the ring. Because he's a tall fighter, and he doesn't fight tall. He's 6'3". He's pretty aggressive, but he's not as durable as he kind of should be fighting that way. He likes to be on the inside and be very physical and really aggressive, but he doesn't take the punches well. He's been down a lot in his career, and even in the fights like against Vanes Martirosyan, I don't know if he fell in that career. I think not his career. In that fight, I don't know if he got dropped in that fight, but I know that Vanes kept hurting him. See, Vanes Martirosyan is a guy that boxes well. Has good counterpunching ability, has quick hands, has a good jab. But he's more like a bully at the same time. Whereas Willie Nelson, he's a solid counterpuncher. He doesn't make that much use of his jab, and he doesn't really fight tall. He's not a rangy fighter. And he's not as durable as Vanes Martirosyan. So fighting Demetrius Andrade was just, he got picked apart because Andrade bullied him on the inside. If you saw in the first round, Andrade just straight went at him and took all the confidence away. Willie Nelson he never stepped on the gas after the first round. And Andrade did whatever he wanted. He outboxed him on the outside, threw combinations, landed. He just landed to the body on the outside. And then when he felt like it, he went to trade with Willie Nelson, and Willie Nelson just didn't have the answers. Andrade looked like the stronger fighter in there. He hits harder. He had a better punch selection. He timed Willie Nelson well. Willie Nelson didn't have anything for Andrade, and Willie Nelson would be a good opponent for any other fighter in the division. Any other fighter he would have looked decent against, but against Andrade just straight up destroyed him. And outside of the knockdown against Martirosyan, Andrade clearly won that fight. I wouldn't say he destroyed him, but Andrade won 9-10 rounds out of that fight. In my opinion. And I think it's really up for the debate. But listen, I made a video The reason why I call this video The Rise of Demetrius Andrade is because I made a video last year in August, and I remember because I just actually checked it like a week ago. I looked it up and I listened to my video. And this video, I gave you a timeline of everything that was going on in Demetrius Andrade's career. Alright, at least since he won the title, the WBO title. If you haven't seen this video, check this video out. I know it's from last year, but it's a pretty good video. I gave you a breakdown, especially if you're a fan of Andrade. If you're a fan of Andrade, definitely check the video out. I'm a fan of Andrade, but I keep it real on this channel, okay? Whenever I think Andrade made a lot of bad mistakes. You know, I think he needed better guidance leading him up to this point. You know, I think he's starting to get things back on track now, which is very good. But in this video I made last year, this was after he got stripped. Couldn't really find a good fight. You know, he had the whole lawsuit thing which is, I believe, is still ongoing with Rock Nation. He won the title against Vanes Martirosyan. Pulled out a Jermell Charlo fight. Didn't take the Matt Corral fight. Mundine, I believe he was supposed to fight, but Anthony Mundine got injured, pulled out of that fight. Then, you know, Rock Nation, according to him, Rock Nation told him to not take these fights over here in Showtime, and we could give you better fights and pay you, fights that are not as dangerous, but pay you more money. There was a lot of stuff going on with Rock Nation, but there was nothing signed there, nothing signed and sealed. So he was influenced by Rock Nation, and he followed what they told him to do, advised him to do, but they didn't end up signing him. Okay, and I believe at that time he was still signed with Star Boxing, his promoter that he re-signed with. Okay, and I believe also Showtime and Steven Espinoza, I believe they offered him a 3-fight deal, which he did not take. And in that 3-fight deal, Steven Espinoza said that Erislandy Lara, the fighter that we all want to see Demetrius Andrade face, was one of the opponents under that Showtime deal. And then there's Andrade interviews, which I've heard almost all of them probably, you know, where there was some inconsistencies. He wanted to fight the Charlos, and then there was another time where I seen him say, you know, he wasn't too confident of going over to Showtime and fighting him, because if the fight was a close and it went to decision, he would not get the decision because, you know, Charlos is an Al Heyman fighter and the whole thing with that. So, you know, there's been a lot of ups and downs with Demetrius Andrade. He eventually got stripped for the WBO title. And he hasn't gotten a chance to fight for that title again. Leo Smith fought John Thompson, which was so random, in my opinion. And Demetrius Andrade is now beltless. And one thing I've heard Andrade say in his interviews, and this is the issue I have, and this is what I say about guidance. When Andrade speaks in his interviews, as you know, as far as Canelo and all the other top fighters, he was wondering why the top fighters are not fighting him, and that's part of the game now. Just because you won a title, you got to remember there's 3 other guys that hold titles in your division, you know, and people are gonna go after the less risk, the bigger reward guy before they fight you. You were low reward, high risk, you know, not get much money out of fighting you, you know. And Andrade was sitting back waiting for guys to fight him, you know, just similar to Rigondeaux's situation. Similar, not the same, but similar. When you're this young, you're in your mid-20s, you got to be beating as many guys as you can now, you know. You're not the big fish in the division. We respect you as the most talented or one of the most talented in the division, but the people don't really know you that well yet. You know, you're still fighting on undercard or on other cards. I remember when he fought Vanes Martirosyan. I remember that card. I remember, which is, oh, by the way, that Vanes Martirosyan fight. If you guys subscribe to my channel, if you guys can find a link to that fight, please leave that in the comments, please. This fight happened to be completely wiped out off the internet. I haven't been able to find this fight. It was a pretty good fight. I cannot find this fight anywhere. I had it on my DVR and I erased it to save memory. And I wish I didn't erase that fight because it was a Mikey Garcia. I forgot who Mikey Garcia was fighting that night. I don't know if it was Rocky Martinez. And you also had Filipino Flash fighting Vic Darchinyan in that fight, in the second fight between them, the rematch between them. And then you had the first fight was Vanes Monterosha against Demetrius Andrade. That was a championship fight, and there's still 2 fights after that fight. And this is what I'm saying. Andrade's not really that big yet, you know, and I think people think that some of these champions think that since they won a title that everybody's going to be chasing them. That's not how it really works. People want to go after the name first, or they want to go after the money, or they want to go after the easier champion in the division. That's just the way boxing is today. And Andrade, you know, I think people need to follow what Golovkin does. I think even though a lot of us feel that Golovkin's not fighting the guys that's calling him out, or he's not fighting some of the other top guys because they're ducking him, at least Golovkin is staying active, you know, fighting 3-4 times a year. You're not going to always fight the people that we want to see you fight, but stay active at least. Hold those titles, complete your mandatories until you get that fight that people want to see you take, all right? Andrade really wasn't doing that, okay? And when you're not active, you're going to get stripped, just like Guillermo Rigondeaux did. You can't say, well, I'm just trying to unify the titles. These guys don't want to fight you, bro. They're going to fight the other champion that they can make more money in. That's just the way the game is. That's just the way the game is. I don't like it, but I'm telling you a reality. You know, and I brought up all these things in that past video. But now it's starting to look like Demetrius Andrade is starting to get things together. He re-signed with Star Boxing. You know, he's fought on Showtime now, okay? And now he's in position to get a title shot very soon. He can possibly fight Erislandy Lara, all right? Which is the fight that I think needs to happen to determine who is the best fighter at 154. All right? He's ranked high over there in the, I believe, the WBC. Okay, so Jermell Charlo is supposed to be fighting Hatley, and Jamal is supposed to be fighting Williams. All right, so, you know, I don't know, you know, what order or which fight he can get first. But he's in a good place right now where he can get a shot at a title either late this year or as early as the beginning of 2017, okay? Seems to be in good position now as far as the rankings are concerned, okay? I personally think, this is what I believe, and I make a lot of videos on this division. You know, out of all of the top fighters here, there's one common thing that I see with a lot of these fighters, and you see in the Jermall Charlo fight against Austin Trout. Jermall, a lot of people thought Jermall was going to just wipe Austin Trout out. You know, and even with the Jermell Charlo against John Jackson fight, we know Jermell stopped him. Okay, he did stop him. But Jermell lost so many of those rounds. I think Jermell might have only won maybe 2 rounds leading up to that stoppage in like the 8th round. Jermell is fighting differently now. He's trying to be more aggressive. He's trying to stop his opponents. He's going for the knockout, which is fine. I'm all with that. But he's learning right now. He's in transition right now. Before, he was the slick boxer that used a lot of lateral movement, picked the shots. You know, he was more defensive minded in his fights. Now he's coming forward, and now he's fighting guys like John Jackson, who has boxing ability, can fight on his back foot. You know, he was circling Charlo the whole time, and Charlo is just trying to land one big shot, and he's not that good. He's not that developed fighting aggressively, even coming forward. The one thing about these boxers, I forgot who said this. I don't know if it was Paulie Malignaggi, but I think it was Paulie Malignaggi. But a lot of these guys that are considered to be the slick boxer are not good at fighting other slick boxers. And this is why Jermell didn't look that great against Jackson. I know he got the knockout. I know that. But as far as winning rounds, he was losing the fight. He was getting outboxed. Jamal was arguably getting outboxed by Austin Trout. Okay, I thought Jamal did enough to edge the fight, but I thought the fight could have easily been a draw too, depending on the judges who was judging the fight that night. You know, even some people even say that Austin Trout won. I mean, I remember them booing. They were actually booing Jamal for getting the win, the W. So I think, you know, a lot of these guys, these top 5, 6, and this is my favorite division, but I think a lot of these top 6, 7, 8 fighters in this division here, a lot of them are slick boxers, but they're not used to fighting other slick boxers. A lot of these guys haven't fought each other. The Charlos haven't fought Lara or Andrade. They're not gonna fight Lara, but they haven't fought Lara or Andrade. You know, Julian Williams hasn't fought anyone good yet. You know, I think Julian Williams, his best opponent was this guy, this Puerto Rican fighter. I don't know what his name. I think it was Gonzalez. You know, maybe a few fights, maybe a couple years ago. I think that was his best opponent. He was undefeated. You know, he gave Julian Williams a tough fight. You know, J-Rock hasn't, you know, I praise J-Rock on here, but J-Rock hasn't fought another really skilled fighter yet. So he might not look that good. He looks skillful against the guys he's fighting, but that's my issue with J-Rock. My issue with J-Rock is that I don't really know how he's going to look against another good fighter. And he's not even gradually growing in competition. He's fighting the same level of fighters every single fight. And that could be dangerous, you know, because what happens when he really step up? What's going to happen? Same thing with the Charlos. I mean, Jamal finally stepped up and fought Austin Trout. In my opinion, this was his first test. In my opinion, I don't think K9 was a test for him. I knew that was going to be a slaughter. But Austin Trout was his first test, and he's fighting Austin Trout that's fought Cotto, that's fought Lara, that's fought Canelo Alvarez, you know? And the fight was very close, you know? I mean, Jamel fought some other fighters, but, you know, he didn't look that great against, you know, Demetrius Hopkins. Back in the day, he didn't look that great against him. He didn't look that great against Vanes Monteroshin, you know? So it was always questionable with him. And now he's in transition where he's trying to be more aggressive, you know? But Andrade and Lara separates themselves from everybody else, in my opinion, you know, at 154. Because those are the only two fighters that has fought top guys in the division and looked great and dominated. You know, Lara destroyed Austin Trout. Destroyed him. Trout might have won one round, and he got dropped in that fight. You know, Trout gave Canelo a good close fight. Gave him a good close fight, but Trout went in there with Lara, and Lara just got him out of there. You know, shut him out damn near every round. But then when Trout gets in there with Jamal Charlo, you see how close the fight is. You know. And then on Lara, you know, I don't need to go down his resume, but he's fought the most people out of everybody else at 154 right now. He's fought the most people. He's been in there with Canelo. He's been in there with Paul Williams. He's been in there with Angulo when Angulo was still good. You know, he's been in there with the most fighters. Maybe not recently, but, you know, he's been in there with Vanes Monteroshin twice. He's been in there with the better fighters. And now Andrade, he's been in there with 2 top 10 fighters, and he beat them better than anyone else have. Just like Lara beat Trout better than anyone else have. These are the only 2 fighters in the division that separate themselves from everybody else. This is why Andrade and Lara needs to happen. I think it needs to happen now. Let these other guys fight and do their thing. And then, you know what? If Andrade were to fight one of the Charlos or J-Rock or something, that's cool. But in my opinion, Andrade needs to get his belt back. He should be getting a shot at the WBO title, but that's a different story. But in my opinion, that fight needs to happen now. I made a video on that last year too. Lara and Andrade needs to happen now, because I know a lot of people are hyped over this opponent, this last fight over Andrade. But this is the thing. I'm waiting to see Andrade fight one of these slick fighters. Willie Nelson's not a slick fighter, and neither is Martirosyan. You can outbox. Martirosyan is a good fighter. He's a very good fighter. He's not a good fighter. He's a very good fighter, but he can be outboxed. We've seen it. Okay, Willie Nelson could definitely be outboxed, without a doubt. He's a top 10 fighter. He's good, but he can definitely be outboxed. Lara's a little different. Lara, lately, he's been staying in the pocket longer, which is good. I don't think he's going to stay in the pocket with Demetrius Andrade. Demetrius Andrade has been always fighting that way. This is why this fight needs to happen, because Lara is going to do something that we're not used to seeing Andrade do. And he might force Andrade into lunging, He might force him into doing that. I personally think Lara's advantages, because they fight very similar, but they're different in a lot of ways. I think Lara, better balance, okay, sharper, a little bit sharper still. I still think Lara is a little bit sharper with that straight left, okay? Andrade throws a great straight left. I just think Lara's just a little bit sharper. I think his timing is a little bit better. But Andrade is a fan pleaser. He's more of the fighter. He can trade. He can fight slick. He can fight and move. He goes to the body well. He throws better combinations. He's more of the guy that's trying to knock you out. Lara's not that guy. Lara's like, if the knockout comes, I'll take it. If I hurt you, I'll finish you off. Andrade's trying to knock you out. He's not trying to go to decision. And it makes for a perfect matchup. These two guys, two southpaws. It won't be like the Trout fight. Trout forced himself to be aggressive because he was losing on the outside. Lara was just a little bit longer, slicker. Timing was better, sharper. Trout had to force himself to be aggressive. It worked against Jamal Charlo, but it didn't work against Lara. Whereas Demetrius Andrade has been fighting that way. He's very aggressive. He wants to fight, and if he has to, he will go to Lara's body like Canelo did. Well, Canelo did to Khan too. Demetrius Andrade has already been fighting that way. He'll go to the body and he'll switch it up. Fight from the outside, just shoot straight lefts. He can make adjustments. And this is why I think that Lara fight and Andrade fight needs to happen. Plus, there's bad blood between those two. So anyway, that fight needs to happen. But I'm glad Andrade is back on track. He's, fighting on Showtime now. I feel like he's in position to get a big fight soon. And, I know all of these guys want to fight Canelo. But Canelo, just based on his track record and what he's been doing lately. And, I don't want to call it too early. I haven't really officially made a video about Canelo on what I'm waiting to see what Canelo is going to do. Okay, I want to see if Canelo is really going to fight Liam Smith at 154. I'm waiting to see if he's really not going to fight Triple G, and that fight does fall through, which I think it will. I'm just waiting to see what Canelo is going to do before I make a video on him and put him in the mix. But he's not just going to randomly fight Demetrius Andrade. And you know what's funny? I think Canelo might fight Jamel Charlo. I would not be surprised. Because Jamel Charlo's been calling Canelo out. But I think, everybody is focused on Liam Smith. I think Canelo would fight Jamel. I think he would. And I think he has a better chance of beating Jamel than Jamal or Andrade or fighting Lara again. He's not going to fight those guys. I think he would fight Jamel first, being that Jamel does have a title too, if he doesn't get the Liam Smith fight. But I think he's going to fight Liam Smith. Because Liam Smith is by far, I don't even think Liam Smith is a top 10 fighter at 154. I don't care if he holds a belt or not. He hasn't fought anyone good. John Thompson is not really that good of a fighter. Alright? So anyway, Andrade, I'm glad he's back on track. I just hope we get the Lara fight soon now. I seen him say after he clears out the division, he'll fight Golovkin. That is not a call out. I see people jumping on that now. That wasn't a call out. He said, after if I do my thing at 154, I'll go up and fight Golovkin, which I believe he should when he does his thing at 154. He has too much work to do at 154. Too many guys at 154 that I want to see him fight first before even going up to Golovkin. All right. If he wants to take the challenge now, do it. But you have to move up in 160 and fight a couple guys before you even get to Golovkin. I want to see you do what you got to do at 154 first. That's just my opinion. All right, so long enough video. All right, but Andrade's back. I'm gonna leave the link in the description for the video I did last year on the fall of Demetrius Andrade if you guys want to check that out. All right, and make sure you guys subscribe. I'm out. Peace.